The following program contains shocking amounts of primary sources. If you suffer from addiction to rumors, this show might not be right for you. Check with your cheerleading captain.
Proclaiming the truth in the highways and byways of the world. Fighting for justice in the dark alleys of politics. Raising the voice of resistance to a fevered pitch. And he knows where to find the best and worst jail food in America. Randall Terry.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, your servant Randall. Why can't insults at least be proper grammar? Oh, it's so hard to struggle with people who are morons. Gosh, I did a great shot. Today's program brought to you in part by National Right to Life Committee, the enablers of Planned Parenthood, and by the Chicago Board of Trade, helping gamblers drive up the price of bacon and cornflakes in our grocery aisles. I'm going to take a quick break and let Rusty Cowpoke have a word at it. And then, unfortunately, we've got a lot of serious things to talk about on today's program. Don't go away.
Hey there, Mr. Boehner, I'm talking just to you. Did you ever have your lunch stolen from you, like from one of your big brothers there in the back of your daddy's restaurant way back when? Did that ever happen to you? And then you was ready to cause a brawl over it because you said, no way, no how, I'm standing my ground, I'm going to put my foot down right here. You remember times like that? Well, guess what? We got ourselves a big old situation in the U.S. of A. Yeah, because we're spending more money than we're taking in. Did you know that? Are you ready to make a brawl over that? Can you put your foot down and have a government shutdown? Do you get it?
Welcome to the program, friend. Let's go right to news on Japan. As we all know now, the death toll in Japan is rising. The number is no longer going to be in the thousands, but many officials fear in the tens of thousands, because that's how many people right now are completely unaccounted for. Their whereabouts is simply not known. And with every passing day, many of them will be presumed and ultimately found out to be dead. Another hydrogen explosion has occurred. So that's 2 hydrogen explosions. Government officials have said that, and I quote in a paraphrase, that they believe that one reactor is already melting down. They do not have the ability to go inside at this point because it would be so dangerous, but they believe, given the data that they have on the outside, a reactor is in the process of melting down. The number is now at 500,000 who have been moved and who are in effect refugees within their own country. They are in shelters, most of which do not have heat, do not have running water, and supplies are perilously low. Help is coming from some 70 nations at this point, and Japan is holding out its hands in request for help, compared to the disaster earthquake in 1995, in which the government was very slow to ask for help. Interestingly, the governor of Tokyo said, and I quote, that this was a punishment from heaven because the Japanese had grown too greedy. Looking at the disaster that we had with Katrina and the many people that felt that given the debauchery and evil that was happening in New Orleans, that it might have been the judgment of heaven. Of course, that would have been completely politically incorrect to say by most of our political leaders. So one can at least admire the courage of the governor of Tokyo for saying such a thing. Whether or not this is the judgment from heaven, this we know, that the death toll is going to be horrifying. And frankly, the only reason that it will end up being this low, and I say that in quotes, is because the buildings have been constructed so fiercely in order to ward off massive disaster should an earthquake strike. If an earthquake of this magnitude had happened in other nations, in some third world nations, the death toll would have been exponentially higher. Life is short, life is precious, and we are, because of the speed of technology, as it relates to banking, trade, communications, and political decisions that are across borders. This world is much more integrated than it used to be. And number one, we've got to pray for our fellow human beings in Japan. This disaster is unthinkable. Father God, we ask you please to show them kindness. Please get supplies to them as quickly as possible. In Jesus' name, amen. And obviously you can call your Red Cross, your local Red Cross, if you want to make a contribution. And there are other relief agencies that are receiving contributions as well. Right now, we're focused in front of our television, reading newspapers, on the death toll, on the possibility of a meltdown, which results in a lot of people getting sick. You've surely heard about the 17 U.S. Navymen that were exposed to fairly low levels of radiation as a helicopter flew through some contaminated air. But I want you to understand something. The heads of huge corporations, the leaders on Wall Street and in various stock trading locations around the world, and the heads of governments are looking at Japan as to how this is going to affect all of us. We need to pray. We need to understand that a crisis of this magnitude for Japan could drag the entire world into a depression. Japan is the third largest economy in the world. Until recently, it was the second largest economy in the world. Just last year, China overtook them for the number 2 spot. And if Japan goes down the drain in any significant way, it's going to be clutching onto the European Union, to America. It's going to be clutching in part onto China. The Nikkei index has already fallen over 6% of its total value, and it is going to continue to drop. Wall Street is beginning to feel tremors because of this. 2 of the major car manufacturers in Japan have ceased production. We could see an economic crisis that 10 or 15 or 20 years from now, historians look back on and say, this domino effect began with the crisis in Japan. You know me on this program. I'm not a fearmonger. I don't talk about a lot of conspiracy theories and stuff like that. But the reality is that this could be a crisis for the whole world economically. All we can do is watch, keep up our confidence. Maybe while you can still buy milk and eggs and cereals and dry goods, at least somewhat inexpensively, you might want to go and stock up on just a little bit of them. I'll tell you why, more about that in a future segment. Let's go to some more news. And again, I urge you to remember our friends in Japan in your prayers. Wait a minute, stop. Excuse me. This just in. House Republican leadership has become like a man who has 1 wife, 2 girlfriends, and a special friend that he met in a chat room online. Oh, this can't be good. But by the way, who's his wife? Let's talk about that in the next segment, all right? Because, as you know, Speaker Boehner has cut a deal for a 3-week spending bill with the Senate. He can't decide who he's playing to. So think about it. It's like a riddle. He's got 1 wife, 2 girlfriends, and just a special friend that he met online in the chat room. I'll be right back. Don't go.
Why is it that when you have been looking for something for hours, you find it in the last place you look? Could it be that it's because when you find it, you quit looking?
Moments with Moses. And you shall perish among the nations, and the land of your enemies shall eat you up.
Welcome back to the program, friend. Let me get a sip of my coffee here. This cup was given to me by a friend of mine. He's a preacher, and offerings were down a little bit, so he decided he would have to try and invest that money. Went to Caesar's Palace. Can you get a close-up of this? Let's look at this here. Caesar's Palace, yeah. He did quite well. Only used the money on a blackjack table. You have the highest chances of winning. Coffee tastes good when it comes in a Caesar's Palace coffee cup. All right, let's talk about the Chicago Board of Trade for a minute. The Chicago Board of Trade, well, they're selling futures right now for corn at $7 a bushel. $7 a bushel. That's a lot of money. Yes, it's one of the highest amounts of money ever paid for corn. Let's talk about what that means for the average person. There are four major areas in which corn is spent. Money is spent on corn. Number one, foreign exports. Number two, ethanol. Number three, feedlots to plump up animals. And number four, domestic food consumption. All right? Foreign prices, it is what it is. But when you have a supply and demand crisis over the other three, ethanol, feedlots, and domestic food consumption, it can result in food skyrocketing. I have some friends and relatives that are farmers, and they grow corn. Last year, this time, maybe a little bit more than a year ago, corn was $3.30 a bushel, $3.50 a bushel. It has doubled. Right now, beef is at its all-time high. I think I was talking to somebody who works with the Chicago Board of Trade. I think he said it was $1.20 a foot, $1.20 a pound on the hoof, which is an all-time high for fattened cattle. In a nutshell, what this means is cornflakes, Doritos, all of your corn-based products and meat are going to have a significant jump in price. All kidding aside, if you have the ability to go to a Costco's or a BJ's or a Sam's Club, any place where you can buy in bulk, all right, here is a friendly recommendation. Take a couple $100 extra, $300 if you can afford it, and put some meat in your freezer. If you see meat prices come down and you know that's a good price for beef, just buy a bunch of it and freeze it. If there are corn products that your family uses to eat, get them, put them in a little food pantry or whatever, because there is no way that corn can be trading as high as it is right now and not have an impact on meat prices, on corn-based products, and on the price of gas, because a lot of states right now, by law, are required to have at least 10% ethanol in their gas, and it's going to make the price of ethanol go up. All right, let's see. I've got a little bit more time here. Let's go back to the Republican news. Well, as it turns out, wait, hold on. This just coming in. House Republican leaders are now saying that their special friend who they met in a chat room, they've actually met a few times at coffee shops, Starbucks, etc., just to talk. Okay, we've got to find out more about this. It's getting salacious, as they say. Yes, it's getting salacious. Let me take a quick break. When we come back, just how is the Republican leadership like a man who's got one wife, two girlfriends, and a special friend that they met in a chat room, and they got together at coffee shops just to talk? Don't go away.
Hey, you Republicans, get ready for real fights. Get ready for real fights. Defund Planned Parenthood. And you Democrats, we're sorry to see you go. Hope you enjoy life in the real world. You might be able to get a nice little job at Starbucks or at Walmart. Huh?
Courage is rightly esteemed the first of human qualities, because it is the quality which guarantees all others. Sir Winston Churchill.
Welcome back to the program, friend. It is I, your servant, Randall Terry. And remember, this is the nation's largest support group for the victims of government education. Yes, remember, most of us were catechized in the temples of our enemies, and it's time to learn the truth. You've come to the right classroom. Let's go to that top story concerning Republicans. Yes, the GOP. They've been found out to be like a man with one wife, two girlfriends, and a secret chat room friend. Who is the wife? Well, The wife is the religious right, the pro-life movement, and now the Tea Party, all rolled up into one. Oh, I know her. She's a fairly attractive woman, very sensible, very dedicated. Yes, girlfriend number one, she's public opinion, and those moderate swing voters. Oh, she's pretty to look at, but she's just a bit unstable. Some people say she's a bit of a floozy. Girlfriend number two, the Democrats themselves. Are the Republicans insane? Flirting with the Democrats is like flirting with another man's wife. You can't have her. And then that secret chat room friend, well, it turns out that's the mainstream media. No, shh, don't tell the wife. That's horrific. She'll dump him for sure. Well, maybe she will. And maybe that's exactly what needs to happen. So let me quickly analyze all of these. And, oh, wait, a bit of advice from Bill Clinton to John Boehner and the House leaders. Hello, John, it's me, Bill. Yeah, how you doing? I'm doing well, thanks. Listen, I just want to tell you, you're spreading yourself too thin. Yeah, trust me on that, okay? One wife and one girlfriend, a heap of trouble. One wife and three girlfriends, man, you are way too thin. You're asking for a shellacking. Don't do that, my man. Okay, yeah, I'll talk to you. Okay, bye. All right, let's look at each of these. I just had to get that out of my system. Wife. She's been around, but she's faithful. She's attractive. Little color in the hair, maybe. Little, getting rid of some of the wrinkles. Little Botox, little enhancement stuff going on. All right? But she's still the core. She's still the core. She's there for you when you need her, Mr. Boehner. House leaders. At your own peril. At your own peril, you mess with these other little political hussies. All right, girlfriend number one. Public opinion. The moderate voters. They're like the 22-year-old college senior, okay? Barely drinking age. Head of the glee club. Head of the cheerleaders. Really, really attractive. And then she comes into the room, everyone looks at her, and what does she do? She starts to talk. Yeah, she starts to talk, and you realize, wow, there's just not a lot going on up there. A lot of room for growth. Not too intelligent. So you're going to play to people who 1 minute have Obama in the low 30s for whether they like him and his job approval rating, and now he's approaching 50% again? You're going to play to those people? Huh? You could get a lot of them to agree to kill their grandmother. I'm just saying. Fickle. Not stable. Not able to define the issues really well. They just like to see how it plays out on TV. Like Miss Bachelorette. All right? Democrats. The Republicans are often trying to play to the Democrats. It's like flirting with the wife of another leader. You've got to be stupid. John Boehner, it doesn't matter if you showed up with an angel on one hand and a saint risen from the dead on another. You're the devil. The Republican leaders are the devil. Don't play to Harry Reid. Don't play to Nancy Pelosi. Don't play to Barack Obama. Don't play to their core. You're not going to win. They don't like you, okay? Don't waste your energy flirting with them. And last but not least, the press. And they're not even doing it well. Boehner's flirting with the press, the mainstream media, trying to win them over that they're reasonable and they have a good plan and they're just trying to be conservative and we've got to deal with this economic crisis. They're trying to play a game that they don't have the machinery in place to play and to win. Forget it, okay? Don't play to them. Play to your base. Because if you lose your base, if your wife dumps you, you're out, buddy. You are out, all right? Play to the base. The GOP base, the wife, the religious right, the pro-lifers, the Tea Party people. I'm going to take a break. I'll be right back with a great word from one of our founding fathers. Don't go away.
Be not silent, O God of my praise, for wicked and deceitful mouths are opened against me, speaking against me with lying tongues.
Abraham Lincoln said, "Nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power." Friends, the Republicans in the House have power. Their character is being tested, and according to me at least, and many of you, they're failing the test. Here's my advice. Give them some of the inspiration that they clearly need. A 3-week continuing resolution just means that the debt crisis and the fight over whether or not Obamacare is funded and Planned Parenthood is funded, it's just been put off to another day. All right? Let's get ready for that day. Let's give them the inspiration they need. They'll see the light when they feel the heat. God bless you.